This is KCCK's Culture Crawl. I'm Dennis Green. Say hi to Tim Hankewich.
Hi.
Music director of Orchestra Iowa. In for this is a wrap on the on the season.
It's coming close to the end of our season. We have 3 more programs and a chamber concert. Not to mention First Friday Jazz, which is tomorrow.
That's
well.
right.
Yeah.
Yes. Got another good one. We'll mention, since you mentioned that, we'll mention that as we get a little bit further on too. But first of all, let's talk about this weekend, which is your Masterworks Russian Masters.
Russian Masterworks. Yeah, we're lucky enough to be able to perform it twice. Tomorrow evening in West High School in Iowa City at 7:30, and then we repeat the program at the Paramount on Saturday, also at 7:30. And it's kind of your straight down the plate Russian Masterworks music that's going to just like part your hair. I think the Russians are really good at their brass writing and the really passionate kind of writing that people have come to know and love. But what's really remarkable about this particular concert is I think we've lucked out this season with our soloists.
Yes, tell me about him.
A lot of people have just been remarking lately, certainly in the last few years, that our orchestra is hitting above its weight class. They're playing really, really well. And this season, we've really been able to get the kind of artists to really take us to that next level. For anybody who came in our October concert, we had a pianist who was just superhuman, and people are still talking about that. They came in November. There was this cellist named Joshua Roman, who was really the next Yo-Yo Ma. And we got him while we could still afford him. And Brian Lewis, our violin soloist this weekend, is no different. He is one of the great violinists of his generation. I'm proud and pleased to count him amongst my friends. I first met him about 10 years ago, and I wanted to bring him here. And the piece that he's playing, the Tchaikovsky Violin Concerto, for the longest time was considered unplayable, too difficult. And this is something that he just does as a matter of course. And to be able to have his artistry on stage with us is a real treat. So it's not only going to be exciting, great classical music, and not only is he a great performer, he's an important performer, and this is something that you shouldn't miss.
This is one we're going to say we knew him when.
Yeah, actually knew him already. I mean, he's not just an up-and-comer, he has arrived. And again, because of personal friendships, and we were able to program well enough in advance. Again, to be able to have somebody of his caliber share our stage is something rare and amazing, and you shouldn't miss it.
So you mentioned that the Tchaikovsky Violin Concerto was regarded as unplayable.
Yeah.
So I assume, though, that Tchaikovsky found somebody to play it, or did he just write it and stick it in the drawer?
Well,
tell me about the history of this piece.
Poor Tchaikovsky, his 2 great concertos, his piano concerto and his violin concerto, were both panned when he first wrote it, both of them, because they were considered really way too difficult. And the people that he had in mind to play them turned him down, well, not diplomatically. And it was only after he found other people trying to build their careers to play these pieces, and they ultimately became famous. Then his so-called friends that he wrote these pieces for came out of the woodwork and said, well, all right. He guilted them into actually playing them because there's... the public made their determination. I mean, when everyone realizes that you've got a masterwork on your hands, well, then you better roll up your sleeves. And throughout history, composers have always been stretching the state of the art of technical playing. And so even though we hear of and remember great virtuosos, the caliber and level of playing that is coming out of the conservatories today is unparalleled.
Well, in just the same way that athletics. That
higher, stronger, faster. The Olympic thing. Yeah,
right.
Absolutely.
The 4-minute mile was a barrier that no one can possibly run faster than 4 minutes.
Right, and you're lucky even to get into the semifinals now with that. Yeah. Exactly right. So that's sort of
like anything else, we get better.
And Tchaikovsky is one of those people who created that benchmark, that standard by which everyone measures themselves now.
Talking with Tim Hankewich from Orchestra Iowa about some of the concluding shows of the 2014-2015 season. Just briefly, tell me about the other pieces that are on this, because it's all Russian.
This is kind of an interesting sort of trivial bit. In the late 1900s to the early 20th century, that was sort of the zenith of amateur music making, and I mean that in the best sense of the word. Rarely
amateur performing or amateur writing, or both?
Both.
Okay.
And in fact, a lot of the great composers and performers of the day had other professions. And one of the symphonies that we're playing is the second symphony of this guy by the name of Alexander Borodin. And he was a chemist by trade, and in fact, he co-discovered the aldol reaction. For those of you who know your organic chemistry, it is a way of two carbon molecules to combine with each other to create other compounds. And he was the one who actually discovered this. And when he wasn't mixing compounds and other stinky elements in his lab, he was busy scribbling music. And he was a bona fide genius because although his output wasn't that large because he had a day job, he was able to write masterwork after masterwork after masterwork, and this is one of those occasions.
Interesting.
Yeah, and I think other composers like Glazunov, who's also featured on this, who was a professional musician and also precociously talented, would have given his eye teeth to be able to write a masterwork like that. Glazunov, who wrote the first piece, was one of those coulda, woulda, shouldas, and never quite was there. And he dedicated his life to music, whereas Borodin sort of did it on the side, and oh my God, genius just flowed from his pen. So history can be capricious like that.
Well, again, it gives hope to everyone who does art in their spare time.
Absolutely right. And so this is going to be a remarkable program just because of the diversity of the music, the beauty of the music. And as we spoke of earlier, this incredible artistry of Brian Lewis, our guest violinist.
And you also have a very kind of different show coming up in a couple of weeks as well, Cirque Musica.
Yes, in this.
So you've done the orchestra and ballet. You've done orchestra and and theater people.
That's right.
And now you're doing orchestra and acrobatics.
Well, it's a great setup because that's sort of been my artistic vision of how do we put orchestral music in front of more people. And after the flood, one of the big casualties of our season was a pop season. For all intents and purposes, it went away.
I mean, you don't do a pop season. You do some occasional special features.
That was something that we couldn't avoid because of the flood, and so we're dipping our toe into bringing more diverse programming to bring larger audiences in. And this particular program, which is on the 16th and 17th, is designed for audiences of all ages. It's for families. It features the Flying Wallendas doing a whole bunch of acrobatics and things like that. And the orchestra is on stage.
Right.
Yes.
When I first heard about this, I thought, well, you guys are going to be in the pit because the acrobats are going to need the whole stage. But no, they're going to be flying right above the violas.
They're going to be flying right above. I hope they can pay attention because as people are looking at their music, looking at things flying above their heads. But that's
well, and if somebody bows just a little bit too high,
that's right.
It could be disastrous.
Could trip them up. So yeah, come and see if they make it or not. Yeah. So yeah, the orchestra will be on stage, far upstage, to give the acrobats as much room as possible, and their program is designed to be put together with classical music. So bring your entire family and friends and of all ages.
What's on the program?
A lot of just standard classical things, like William Tell Overture and the other thing like that. I have to actually punt on that question because the music hasn't arrived.
Oh, you haven't gotten it yet. But familiar stuff.
Very familiar stuff. And what ends up happening is, this is why I'm so proud of my orchestra. The music arrives maybe 2 days or 3 days before the performance. We have one rehearsal, and away we go. Even when we do our masterworks, we started our rehearsals yesterday. 2 rehearsals yesterday, a rehearsal tonight, dress tomorrow, and then the concert series. So the professionalism and the standard of this orchestra has just skyrocketed in the last few years, and I just couldn't be more proud of them.
Well, they sound fabulous.
Thank you.
And the last time I saw them, they were even in the pit.
Yeah.
At the ballet, and they still sounded great.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Congratulations on another great season.
Thank you
and of
so
course,
much.
next season we're looking forward to Tim's 10th.
Oh my God, it's 10 years already.
You put some fun stuff in that. Did you get to pick favorites for that, or
a few favorites? But there's also stuff that we haven't played in a while that a lot of people write in. I do listen to our feedback online and also in regular mail. And there are some pieces on there that audiences have been clamoring for quite some time. So, okay, let's do it.
Well, glad. Yeah. It's been a great 10 years, and here's to 10 or more.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you so much.
So, again, this weekend, it's Russian Masters, Friday in Iowa City. So that's kind of an unusual. I'm going to highlight that because a Friday night concert is not something you do all the time.
Yeah, usually it's a Saturday and Sunday, but scheduling has worked out to the point where at West High School, Friday night in Iowa City at 7:30.
And then Saturday at the Paramount.
Exactly right. Yeah.
And then the Cirque Musica.
Yeah.
On the 16th and the 17th.
But let's not also forget about First Friday Jazz.
thanks for bringing that up because I said we were going to. It's, of course, tomorrow night, First Friday, as always, at Orchestra Iowa's Opus Concert Cafe. And this month it is Christopher's Very Happy Band.
Very happy.
And this is Chris Mertz, who heads the University of Northern Iowa Jazz Department. And he's got a, I know that Dave Teedy's drumming in that band. And I'm trying to remember who the other musicians are, but all musicians that, that Chris is associated with. This is all Chris's original music.
Oh, fabulous.
But the reason why he calls it his happy band is that it is stuff he has written specifically to kind of be audience friendly, interesting musically, but also fun.
Right.
As opposed to,
sometimes
a very
it can get a
challenging
academic. Gotcha.
So Christopher's Very Happy Band is designed to play cool music and fun music.
Awesome.
So that is, thanks for bringing that up again. Tomorrow night, and of course, the first hour, as always, is broadcast live on KCCK. I will see you then.
All right.
And good luck with the rest of the concerts to round out the season.
Thanks much.